The new Sauvage Extrait from Dior is here. Is this the best version of Sauvage yet? Let's find out. Dior have come out all guns blazing this time, not just with this insane PR presentation, but with the scent itself. Let's get into Sauvage Extrait and find out what it's all about. You don't often see PR presentations like this. Of course, we've got the new Extrait here, and then we've got 6 smaller bottles containing oils of the main accords that make up this fragrance: patchouli, vetiver, oud, cedar, lavender and bergamot. There's even a little drawer here which contains lots of Dior blotters and a little instruction manual about how to use Sauvage Extrait. So, crazy PR presentation, and just let me reiterate, this is the PR presentation only. This is not what you buy when you go and buy Sauvage Extrait in the shops. I've never seen Dior do presentations like this, so I'm just wondering if they've gone all in on this one because they think they've got something. They've got a little gem. So let's find out if Sauvage Extrait is a gem. So we've had a few Sauvages over the years. I don't have all of them. I don't have the Parfum because I felt like the differences between the EDT, the EDP and the Parfum were quite negligible, so I didn't bother spending the money on the Parfum, but I do really enjoy the EDT and the EDP. Eau Forte, which was Francis Kirkjohn's first Sauvage fragrance for Dior, I just didn't really enjoy that much. I haven't really worn it. It had a slightly strange rubbery smell to me, which just didn't work on my skin. This was a water-based fragrance. I think it was a bold attempt from Dior, and I think it was great that they were trying to do something different. And some people did like it, so it wasn't a complete write-off. Just for me, it probably is the least enjoyable in the line. Then a few years ago when the Elixir was released, this became my favorite of the line because I just felt that it pushed everything. It had the nice clean lavender bergamot thing that we loved about Sauvage, but then it made it much more robust, spicier, even more masculine, and it was strong. This is a beast mode fragrance. So now with the new Extrait, is Elixir still my favorite, or has the Extrait taken the throne? The Extrait comes in a very similar bottle to the Elixir. It's a 50 ml bottle. The Elixir bottle is darker. There's some lighter transparent glass on the Extrait, but they're very similar, and I think that speaks to the fragrances themselves because the Extrait for me is the closest to the Elixir. This has very little in common with the original Sauvage EDT. There's flickers of it way down there in the background, but it doesn't really smell that similar to me. It smells more similar to the Elixir, so I would say that this is definitely an evolution of the Elixir. It has that same robust quality. It doesn't have spices or licorice listed in this, but I do feel like some of the DNA of this one is carried over into the Extrait. I mentioned the Elixir being very, very strong. Well, I would say the Extrait is even stronger. I think it intensifies a lot of the characteristics of the Elixir. They could quite easily have called this new Extrait Elixir Intense, and it would have worked. It's darker, it's less aromatic. The lavender is less prominent in this than it was in the Elixir, which for some people might not be a bad thing. So it's definitely less versatile than any of the other Sauvages, including the Elixir. This is a bold statement maker. This is something that you would choose to wear for very specific occasions. I would choose to wear this maybe for a formal event, a special occasion, a special event of some kind. I could definitely use Elixir in those situations, but Elixir has that added versatility that I think you could just wear it as a daytime, as a casual scent. You could wear it whenever you like, but for a lot of people, this Extrait is the sort of fragrance that you will only choose to wear for select occasions. When you first spray it on, you get intensity. You get this intense dark woodiness, you get this intense lavender, and it's a darker lavender. It's not this fresh aromatic lavender that you find in the other Sauvages. I would describe it as a stripped down, distilled, intense lavender. Like all the fresh aromatic qualities of lavender are dialed down, and you just have this very pointed, almost spiky intensity. But it also has a roundedness, so it is intense, but it's also rounded and smoothed out, so the intensity isn't obnoxious, it's not off-putting, it's all balanced really nicely. If you love fragrance as much as I do, head over to my online store, luxparfum.co.uk. You'll find my favourite brands, plus brands you can't find anywhere else in the UK. Link is in the description. Let's talk about the big new addition to the notes with the Extrait, and that is Vietnamese oud. And I've got the little bottle here that I've been having a smell of, and this is not a funky, animalic, cheesy, sort of fecal oud at all. It's very clean, it's very rounded, it's got a bit of sweetness to it, and from this bottle, it's got a bit of a leathery quality. Actually, as I'm smelling directly from this bottle, I do have to say, there is just a little bit of a fecal quality to the oud, but I don't think that that translates into the final composition. So even though the oud doesn't seem to have that fecal animalic sort of profile, I would describe this as having animalic characteristics, but rather than it being oudy animalic, I think it's more animal musks sort of animalic. Think of those old school masculine powerhouse fragrances like Kouros, like Drakkar Noir, and I think there's a little bit of that sort of animalic muskiness to it. There is still a little bit of a soapy, fresh, clean element to the fragrance. I don't think it's very prominent, it's more in the background, but there is that little link with the other Sauvages. It has just about enough of that clean Sauvage bergamot and lavender profile to justify it being in the Sauvage lineup. You've probably gathered this is a bold fragrance. If you thought the Elixir was a strong, bold scent, this is even more so. And actually, it reminds me a little bit of Amouage Royal Tobacco. It has a similar sort of profile, and obviously this is a very expensive niche fragrance. To compare a Sauvage fragrance with an Amouage fragrance, I've never done that before, and I think that just shows how daring and creative and how much of a swing Dior are taking with this extrait. I actually didn't think that they would go stronger and bolder than the Elixir because I didn't feel like it needed to be stronger and bolder, but they have with the extrait. And you can compare this, and I've seen a lot of people say, yeah, this is more like a niche fragrance. What is a niche fragrance these days? It's hard to tell because pricing wise, there's not a lot of difference between some designer fragrances and some niche fragrances anyway, and some niche fragrances can smell more designer, some designer fragrances like this one can, I guess, smell more niche. But if we're just talking about the smell itself, if you think a niche fragrance is more daring, bolder, takes more creative risks, then Dior have definitely done that. So if that to you is more of a niche smell, then this is definitely more of a niche smell. And it's actually quite amusing because I think over the years, in my experience, people who really get into fragrance look down on Sauvage a little bit, mainly because it is so common and so popular and smelled in a lot of places on a lot of people, but also because it's quite a simple, uncomplicated fragrance and a lot of people love that. But for those people who thought that about Sauvage and wouldn't wear Sauvage for those reasons, they are the exact same people who are probably loving this. And I think it's great that Dior in the Sauvage line have connected both those things up. We've got two opposite ends of the spectrum. You've got very mass appealing, easy to wear, uncomplicated Sauvage EDT, and then right at the other end, you've got this new extrait, which is a very intense, bold, creative, artistic sort of fragrance. So good job, Dior. I think it's great that as a brand, you've got the confidence to go all the way from Sauvage EDT, the whole spectrum, working your way up to what we now have, the new extrait. I've talked about how intense and bold this is. I think most of that is in the opening and the first hour or two of the scent, because the dry down is a little bit different. On my skin, this dried down to a beautiful, sweet, woody sort of a smell, like sweet burning embers smouldering. Yes, they could have called this Sauvage Smolder. If you know, you know. So an intense, bold, attention-grabbing, statement-making opening, but then it does smooth out and dry down into this beautiful, smouldering sweet woods. There is a price tag on this. It's £150 for 50 ml. That's probably going to go down a little bit as this has been out, but at the moment, if you want to experience extrait, that's what you're going to be paying. And at this stage, from what I can see, only available direct from Dior. But you do get a lot of fragrance for that money. This is definitely beast mode, huge projection, incredible longevity. You're probably going to be showering this off 2 days later. So like with Elixir, I always say do not overspray because it can get a little bit obnoxious. Even more so with this, maybe 3, maybe 4 sprays. That's probably going to be enough for this one, so it is going to last you. If you like strong head-turning fragrances, if you want people to smell you, if you loved the Elixir, then I think the extrait is definitely one for you to try, because there's a chance you're going to like it. It's quite a complex fragrance. It's a very robust, very masculine fragrance. It's certainly the most complex Sauvage fragrance, maybe even the most complex Dior fragrance. Dior boldly rewriting the rule book about what a designer fragrance is, what a niche fragrance is, and I love that. I like a fragrance that commits to something. It has a very distinct identity. It knows what its intentions are and it goes for it. It doesn't pull any punches, and that is certainly the case with Extrait. Is it the best Sauvage yet? Is it my favorite of the whole Sauvage line? No. but I would say it's joint favourite with the Elixir. So I really love this. At the point Elixir came out, I thought that was the best Sauvage, and I think this one has equalled it. Elixir I would wear in more situations, but Extrait, when I really want to turn some heads and make a statement, this is the one I'm going for. Have you tried this one yet? What do you think? Was the Elixir too strong for you, or were you crying out for something even more intense and even stronger and even oudier? Vietnamese oud in a Sauvage fragrance. Who would have thought that would ever have been the case, that I would be sitting here talking about a Sauvage fragrance with oud in it? But here we are. Let me know what you think of this new Sauvage Extrait if you've tried it. If you haven't tried it yet, are you going to drop £150 on it? Little word of advice, if you're thinking about buying it, go into a store and smell it first. Wait until it's in the stores, because it will be very soon. Go and give it a sniff, wear it, put it on your skin, go away, have a coffee for an hour, and then make your decision. If you like this video, you know what to do. Give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you do all that, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.